But the end of the Heartache is where the music industry figures out Killswitch's formula and then uses it as the template for the new sound of mainstream heavy metal that still exists today. It hasn't changed. It's been 18 years! Alright, what's up, Freezer Pops? Welcome to another episode of Guarsenio's High School CD Booklet Review, the show where I re-listen to all the albums I bought in high school and try to figure out what the fuck I was thinking. Today, however, I know exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking, I love At the Gates, but I just don't know it yet because we're talking about Killswitch Engage's The End of the Heartache. Also, before we get started, I just want to let everyone know that we got a brand new Patreon show called Your High School CD Booklet Review. Every other week, me and 2 Minutes co-creator Drew are going to be doing deep dives into albums that I didn't have in my high school CD booklet, either because I wasn't cool enough or they were before my time. $5 gets you access to all the episodes, and if you want to become a $50 patron, you actually get to pick an album for an episode. I found out about Killswitch Engage while perusing metal magazines at the Cherry Creek Tower Records, and at the time I thought they were going to be way too intense for me. With the name and the font and the album art, I was expecting Carcass at the lightest. I then saw the Rose of Sharon music video and I was sold instantly. I don't have a ton of personal stories about Killswitch Engage. They were a band that I listened to kind of on my own when I was in high school. So instead today I want to talk about the legacy of this particular record. I had no idea how huge and influential this album was going to be when I first bought it, but I remember it feeling like a big deal from the off. It was also the first time I remember a black artist getting lifted up in the metalcore scene like this. Bands like Burn and Candiria were East Coast, so they didn't really have a strong reach into Colorado. So for me, this was the first time that I realized, yeah, the scene is way too white. Anyway, me and Drew and some of the other writers from the 2 Minutes to Late Night live show that we used to film at St. Vitus have a podcast on giantbomb.com where we force ourselves to listen to the worst albums of all time. And a few weeks ago, we did an episode about Metallica's Black Album. I know it's critically praised, it's influential, it's the best-selling album in the genre, but recently, there has been backlash from the metal community, so we decided to talk about it and see if there's any legitimacy to the arguments. I'm sorry that I'm gonna speak for him, but in the episode, Drew mentions that he cannot stand the Black Album. It just reminded him of all the boring, gravel-voiced rock that plagued the radio when he was a kid. And in the episode, I didn't understand how he couldn't separate the two. Like, of course, the Black Album inspires a Godsmack, but to me, they're clearly two different things. I didn't understand how he could lump all that shit in with the Black Album until I listened to The End of the Heartache today. The End of the Heartache is the Black Album of the new wave of American heavy metal. To be clear, I'm not saying that Killswitch invented the sounds on this album. Slaughter of the Soul and Heartwork existed years before this, and even Killswitch invents their formula on Alive or Just Breathing. But The End of the Heartache is where the music industry figures out Killswitch's formula and then uses it as the template for the new sound of mainstream heavy metal that still exists today. It hasn't changed. It's been 18 years! And I feel bad because Killswitch are so talented. They're also so funny, and I loved them as a kid, but listening to this album today, I just heard Five Finger Death Punch and wrestling entrance music. I cling to memories. I tried really hard, but if I'm being honest, I couldn't listen to this record for what it is, for what it was. I could only hear the generic music factory that it unintentionally created. It's not Killswitch or the record's fault. They probably just went into the studio wanting to make a brutal record that could also be a hit, and they did that. The riffs and grooves on this record are fantastic, and Howard has an amazing voice. I can't take anything away from that, but it accidentally inspired a style of music that I've heard just so much that it now feels uninspired, and I sadly can't enjoy this record the way that I used to. Again, I'm not saying this is a bad record. This is technically a great record. It sounds unbelievable. This is just the unfortunate curse of popularity. Anyway, let's talk about this album art. This looks like an email birthday card that Pinhead gets from his mom every year. This is what it looks like when I try to sew on my own back patch, and that's why all my battle vests are made by the nice old lady that works at my dry cleaner. This looks like Hellboy finding a sea urchin while snorkeling. Damn, I actually want to see that. Hellboy on Vacation would be a really good fan film. Donate to our Patreon! This is what it looks like when I wash my dishes with a dollar store Brillo pad. This looks like one of those weird advice TikToks where the person clearly doesn't know what they're doing, but they still get a bajillion views. Tired of losing your favorite nails? Try hammering them into a rock. Subscribe for more tips. I'm a government psyop. This is what it looks like when Elmo finds a sea urchin while snorkeling. I don't know, man. We've done like 40 of these. Lastly, I'm gonna say that it is a little unfair that Killswitch Engage gets criticized for making the same album over and over again. Like, dude, are you really gonna blame them for sticking to this formula? They're really good at it and they struck gold. And I don't know, like all these songs sound fun. I dare you to find me a Killswitch Engage song that doesn't sound fun to play on guitar or fun to sing. I dare you. And also, even if they are just sticking to this formula because it's safe and secure, I don't blame them. Every other band from Killswitch's generation that tried to branch off and do something new got bit in the ass and their careers tanked. So I don't know, make that paper, fellas. But yeah, that does it for this week's episode. Let me know what you thought of the album in the comments. Next week, we're doing Barry White! It's 2 minutes!